The two men in the corner of the building aimed their guns at the Asian guy crawling in the vents, attempting to not be seen. 5 shots were shot in his direction, nearly getting him in the legs. The guy came down from the vent and kicked the gun from one man's hand. Helpless and unable to fight, the man ran back to get his gun on the other side of the room. Quickly, with speed of no other, he was stopped in his path. Back and forth they swung their fists. The other was helpless. Also, he didn't want to injure his partner, who now was getting his butt kicked. He picked the Asian up and slammed him back on the concrete floor. Blood gushed from his head. The police were heard moments later. Actions speak louder than words. To think this all started because a adopted kid found out his partners were leaders of a mob. He would try and conquer anybody to be able to speak to them. With his head bleeding from the slam back on the floor, his only option is to remain calm. We'll have to blow up the building to leave the evidence. Did you expect me to give up? Still bleeding, he asked. What's your name? The two men asked at the same time. My name is Kevin, he answered. The two men looked at Kevin in shock, picked him off the floor, and put him in their truck. They drove off quickly. They arrived to their destination, a far away from any gas station, mansion, house. Kevin waited to see the face of who asked for him to be treated this way. He felt as if he was betrayed. It was his great granddad, who he only seen come over on the holidays. His mind was filled with childhood memories. Come in, his grandfather insisted. He used to pretend he was defending his entire family with his bare two fists. The two relatives talked in the biggest room of the house. Tell me, where have you been? Kevin asked. Where else? I've only really been back and forth from my house to yours. Kevin couldn't feel his fingers as he started to pour himself a drink. And let's not forget the reflection in the mirror. By the way, if I would have had only one person rather than two, I wouldn't be here. Kevin made it clear there was no other place he'd rather be. After being dropped off at his grandfather's, the two men drove off to gamble in the nearest casino. After his parents separated, his father continued harassing her, not wanting to leave his ex-wife alone until one night Kevin's father broke into the house, wanting to see why his ex-wife wasn't in her usual routine around the town. That's when Kevin's mom was seen in bed with another partner. Kevin's dad was ready for anything that didn't go his way. Moments after being blinded with all the passion the relationship carried, Kevin's dad shot his mother's new spouse. Try not to focus on your past, Kevin's grandfather added. They both still stood, making a few steps around the room. Kevin went on and on about how he could have been dead and who would have known it was truly him when they spoke about blowing up the building. to leave no evidence. Okay, Kevin, but you're still alive. Besides, I needed to talk to you. Kevin's face switched. He was in shock. What's wrong with a letter? Did you have to have me nearly beat to death? I thought with years of experience you would later come to me with an awesome story, his grandfather soon after switched over his attention over to the TV. Kevin had the urge to get his way, even wanted to ask his grandfather for $3,000 to pay off the last few payments on his brand new car. I found you a wife for me, Kevin asked. In that moment, the front door opened, and in came a tall, well shaped woman with a dress showing all of the right parts and a face that said, "You won't regret this." Kevin hardly kept his head straight. "Excuse me," he said, and ran away like the kid he was. "I'm sorry, I thought he outgrew that," his grandfather told the woman. "Well, I'm leaving soon. Hopefully, he'll be back soon." Kevin spoke to himself in the bathroom mirror, and the two men that left to the casino were on their way home. Kevin knew his grandfather had a plan. He was going to hear he was dying and have to take what was won in the casino, the woman, and his house. There wasn't a chance he was leaving without seeing a grandchild. After Kevin had to feel nearly every emotion for this one situation, he made his way back with the two. Kevin's manhood was being questioned, and if he didn't complete, his grandfather was going to kick him out like he had never earned a dime in his life. "Don't worry, I've been here more than once. I'm off to the bathroom," the woman said. She walked. The shoes she wore echoed around the halls of the house. "From now on, she will follow close behind you," Kevin's grandfather went on, mentioning. "They have privacy in his home." Kevin's eyes crept creeping down the hall, waiting for his new wife to walk back into the room. The woman took the time to fix herself up, changed into what she thought were better clothes, and stepped out, back to the room with both men's eyes on her. She giggled and she washed her hands once more in the second kitchen outside. "She's making us barbecue," Kevin's grandfather said. "So, when is this wedding happening?" "Your relatives will be our guests. They are already here." Kevin's face was secure. He was sure if he seemed shocked, his soon-to-be wife would worry. "Okay," Kevin said. He took a moment to think what it was he would wear. His grandfather went on discussing the details of the wedding. "Are you two ready?" The soon-to-be lovers looked one another in the eyes. "I am," the woman said across the room, walking in with plates of food. "Thank you," Kevin's grandfather showed his appreciation. It was a side of Kevin. It was a side Kevin had never noticed in his relatives. "My name is Monica, all right, Monica. By the way, I love your name." Kevin put the shot glass to her lips of the new partner. He wanted her to notice he wasn't shy. She gave a big smile and continued discuss with Kevin's grandfather. And the men arrived back from the casino, not empty-handed. The men laughed together and dropped the money on the table. "Congratulations," they both agreed. $1,500 is a good wedding gift. "Your grandfather has taken good care of me. I trust you can do the same," the woman said. She went on saying, "And with your grandfather's life shorter than we expected, we got to get this done quickly." Kevin and Monica went into their own rooms.